see what happens.
That's great.
Experiment.
Well, how do we prove that it works? I mean, we know that it works. We built a couple of these things. How do we prove to the rest of the world that it works?
There's a couple of tests that are done. Basic tests, well, not basic in a sense, basic for me because it's a laboratory, but there's some tests that we will run and perform that will be outsourced to certified laboratories, which will test, one, the particulate in and out of the filter, and that is expressed as turbidity, and another will be bacteriological analysis, which will be samples of water going into the filter, enumerating the bacterium, and then looking at the number of bacterium coming out of the filter. And through that we can deduce a log reduction and then figure out what the likelihood or probability of illness will be from consuming the water.
Now, you and I, Matthew, we've spent a lot of hours together out at Taylor Farrow's farm, building these things, testing these things. Do you ever think about it? You have any idea how many hours we spent out there? It's been 1.5 years, hasn't it?
Actually, my record show it's almost been 2 years, so it's a lot of hours.
I try to think about it.
Yeah, a lot of hours. No, number of hours. I've never kept track of it, but it's
well,
a couple 10 hours, a couple maybe 100 hours.
Yeah, the amazing thing is to have the test be valid, we have to have these things in operation for like 6 weeks continuously, and that's the hard part.
It seems to be.
Making sure nothing goes wrong. We had a lawnmower run over our water hose at one point. We've had all sorts of things.
Right?
Yeah, but
running out of gas. And ideally, in the real-world application, you'll have head pressure, gravity, which you don't run out of gravity. If we ever run out of gravity, we have bigger issues than not having water flowing. We're falling off the earth. So, ideally, it'll be set up where the filter will be downstream of a source of water, so gravity will bring the water to the filter, and it'll work smoother in the real world. So once we iron out all these bugs, I think it'll be a very easy contraption to basically set up anywhere in the world and just work. I mean, we know it works. The technology's there. I think we discussed this before. The Egyptians kind of figured out sand filtration with the Nile.
Yeah.
And it's just continued to grow.
Well, and what we haven't really touched on is what's unique about this. If sand filters are in Poughkeepsie in ancient Egypt, what's so special about this thing? And I certainly have an answer, but what do you think?
I think the size is a real asset. A lot of the slow sand filters that are out there, it comes down to a flow and getting the right flow in the right area. And for a large population of people, you need a very large footprint. And at that point, you're talking structural engineering, you're talking concrete, you're talking rebar, you're talking a lot of effort and manpower going into it. But for a small application where it's a couple of 10 people, this is ideal simply for the fact that, we've moved it around physically. The sand is in small enough bags that you can move it. The components are small enough that they can move anywhere in the world. And as you say, truck, UPS, or mule will move this thing anywhere in the world, and that's ideal. And it's big enough to supply a population of people, but not so small that it's only unique to one household. So it's right in the middle, and I think it's a perfect niche for what's out there, what's needed out there.
And the parameters came from the field, came from Ghana, came from Joe Larte. Thanks, Joaquim, and Jim Miles for your grandpa. Essentially, to make it simple, I think the parts are available anywhere in the world. So if someone orders it in Ghana, the parts come from Ghana. Mm-hmm. If someone orders it in Guatemala, the parts come from Guatemala. And I think that's the idea. The only part that's coming from North America is the bag itself.
The bag, right?
And the rest of it will be locally sourced, helping the local economies.
Sure.
Hopefully we can avoid customs issues. And it's just so simple. We've got 18, 19, 20 parts, and all but one of them you can get anywhere in the world. And that's the simplicity that we hope will make this thing work.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the fact that kind of underneath the radar of customs, because I think there's a lot of bureaucracy that can tie this thing up. And it's unfortunate because the people who need it aren't going to get it done. And I think we need to be able to get it right to the people who will actually benefit from it. Yeah. And this will enable us to do that.
Well, thanks for your help. Thanks for all your work.
No, pleasure working with you. Thanks for getting me involved.